What's good, y'all? Welcome to the very first installment of Terrib1es Toxic Takes. I'm your host, El Terrible. Bear with me. This is my first episode, first time recording any of this kind of stuff, and pretty new at it. Just so you can know, this channel is mostly going to be about just me talking about either movies or shows or fucking fights, shoes, anything that pretty much I'm interested in or that I feel like I have any kind of I don't know, any kind of right to talk about or any kind of credibility on, if you want to call it that. So let's just get into it. My first episode is going to be about the fight that happened last Saturday, which was between Yildirim and Caneloalvarez. I'll just go ahead and say it. It was a very boring fight. It was shitty. I mean, it ended in the third round, but that's because there was a huge discrepancy between the two. This guy just wasn't on anybody's level. He wasn't, I mean, he tried he trained to fight and everything like that, but it was just, I'm happy for his country. I was able to see that, they made a huge, celebration for him. And from what I was listening to in the commentary, it's the biggest fight that someone, from Turkey has ever been involved in. So congratulations to him and congratulations to them. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way he wanted it to. He gave up on his stool at the end of the third round, which means it never started into the fourth round. He was taking a lot of punishment. I feel like they made the right decision in ending the fight. But that being said, I did watch the whole card. There was better fights on the undercard. All right. So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his first name right, but Zile Big Bang Zhang, the big Chinese dude. I know you guys saw that. The big Chinese dude against Jerry Forrest. Now, that fight was very, very good. Very entertaining. See, Jerry Forrest got knocked down twice in the fight. They were brutal knockdowns too, man. And, they're two big heavyweights. Huge heavyweights. I mean, the Big Bang, dude, that guy. Yo, so they're big heavyweights. And, you just had a feeling that Jerry Forrest was going to go down hard. Very hard on the third knockdown, if it ever came. But he persevered, man. He persevered. He kept pushing the fight, making Zhang miss as much as possible, which you already know. If you're big enough, if you're that big, the thing that takes out more energy out of you are the miss punches that you be throwing when you be hitting air and stuff. So anyway, that was a great fight that ended in a draw. And you could see that Jerry Forrest was happy with that because I'm sure he didn't expect to win at all, which was really dope. I didn't expect him to win, but Zhang kept headlocking him, and they had to do something, dude. I was wondering why they weren't taking points away, because he is too big, and I did see that Forrest was putting his head down there, but I mean, dude, you could clearly see him making sure that he could get his head down there and put all his body weight down on him, and in the heavyweight match that's a whole new part of the game that they'll use to their advantage. Anyway, that was a great fight. Right after that, we had the Puerto Rican McWilliams Arroyo, I believe. Yeah, McWilliams Arroyo is a flyweight match against Abraham Rodriguez. That was a good fight. McWilliams Arroyo, damn, he's gonna be the next great Puerto Rican talent after Teofimo Lopez, of course. But also the thing you have to consider also is that McWilliams Arroyo was set to fight Julio Cesar Rodriguez, but he broke his hand. He broke his hand, and they brought in Abraham Rodriguez at the last minute. He flew in the night before, dude. He flew into Vegas the night before to make this fight. And, the kid tried to do his thing, but McWilliams was just too prepared, too fast, too sleek, man. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful business. Beautiful business. So that was a great fight. That was a really good fight. The Canelo Alvarez fight was very anticlimactic, and it wasn't Canelo's fault. I honestly don't think it was his fault. A lot of bashers are trying to claim that this was a mandatory fight, man. Canelo can't keep nobody happy. If he doesn't take the mandatory, he loses the belt, and people think that he's ducking or some stupid shit. Obviously, nobody would have thought he'd be ducking this fool, but. I mean, you know how it is. When a hater's gonna hate, they'll find anything to pick at. And with Canelo, it's pretty easy to hate on him. So, in my opinion, that wasn't Canelo's fault that he fought a punching bag that at the end of the day was actually able to talk, because he told his trainers no mas. They told him no more. It wasn't just a punching bag. They did call him Mr. Robot, but To a fighter like Canelo Alvarez, that's just a disadvantage if you try to come forward at him, because he'll just pick you apart, counter you, and Canelo didn't really have to do much of that. Like, it was just it was in the bank. So, although that fight was short, this YouTube conversation is gonna be longer than that damn fight was. We'll talk about what's coming up next, because I'm actually excited for this next fight. So it was probably the world's worst kept secret, but Canelo Alvarez was set to fight Billy Joe Saunders after, like, it was the rumor, and they made it official. Now my thoughts on that are, okay, we wanted this fight to happen a while ago. This fool talks a lot of shit. He's been talking a lot of shit for a long time. But I have to give him his props. I think there's a few people, especially in the super middleweight division, that I feel like actually might have a chance, or that might even make it an interesting fight with Canelo Alvarez, and he's one of them. He's definitely one of them. His last fight, I'm not, I don't know, man. Martin Murray, just, it was whatever, and he didn't really like impress me or nothing. I'm talking about Billy Joe Saunders. The last fight where he really impressed me, I'm pretty sure everyone will agree with me. Like, the whole world, he impressed the whole world. I didn't see that coming. Was with David Lemieux. That was a fight, man. He picked that boy apart. And I thought David Lemieux was at least gonna knock his ass out, knock him down at least, and probably not knock him out. But it was an amazing performance, man. This kid, he knows how to fight. He knows how to box. He knows how to move his feet, and he could bang a little bit. He doesn't have like a big ass pop on his shot, but he can bang. So he's really smooth. He's really smart. He's very, very smart, very technical. I think about him is he's not very disciplined outside of the ring. He doesn't, take care of himself. After every fight, he balloons up, turns into a big fat ass. He has a gut. Like, he just doesn't take the sport seriously enough. I'm not saying that's a huge disadvantage, but I think it is an advantage in Canelo's favor. He has always taken the sport seriously. He's always been ready. I mean, that's the problem. That's why he didn't take the fight when Canelo offered it to him. I believe it was in September. And Billy Ho didn't want to take it because he felt like he wasn't ready. Well, fuck, you be saying all this shit on your channel, man, that, like, you're always ready. You're ready for Canelo. Yeah, Canelo's ducking you, and, like, you'll always be ready for the fight. But, I mean, when push came to shove, bro, like, you said you needed more time. You didn't want to take it because you didn't want more time. And I understand that shit. Like, it's a dangerous sport. You get your head knocked off and fucking pretty soon you can't even fucking talk and shit. Like Meldrick Taylor, man. Rest in peace. I think he passed away. But it's just, I can't take him too seriously. Now I already know that he's gonna build up the fight because he's gonna talk all this shit during the press conferences, which is dope. I love that. I love that for the sport. I don't read too much into it, but I know that's what he's gonna do. Now, this fight is gonna be for the WBA, WBC, and WBO belts, which means Canelo wants to unify. I mean, I believe he's gonna be the first Mexican to do it in the division. Very hard. It's a very hard achievement. It's very, very, very cool of him to go for it. But there's other people in that division that deserve a shot. I probably will get a shot after that. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. It's going to be a great fight. But I ultimately think Canelo's going to win. He's got a bigger punch. Canelo probably doesn't move his feet as well as Billy Ho, but the thing is, when you move your waist and your head like he does, like, I mean, that's just it, dude. I don't think Canelo's ever gonna add, the great footwork thing to his repertoire. Like, he's added all this other stuff, dude. I like to call him the Mega Man of boxing, bro, because after he beats you, he takes a little bit of your power, and he uses that on his next opponent. So I don't know if any of you guys are video game people. You might not get the reference, but I don't give a shit. Anyway, the thing is, I think that this is going to be Canelo's toughest fight in a minute. Like, probably, I mean, you can argue that I think it's going to be, because Danny Jacobs wasn't challenging. I thought it was going to be, but it'll most likely be his most challenging fight since Gennady Golovkin. And I don't want to hype it up, and I don't want to fucking, I don't want to make you guys think I don't know about boxing or anything like that. It's just my opinion, But I do think this is going to be a tougher fight for Canelo than most of the ones that he's done in a long time. That being said, David Lemieux was in December of 2017. Okay, and he looked really good that night. He looked really good that night, man. So, I mean, let's go ahead and say it's 3 years removed, 3 years and like 2 months. I mean, his last fight, he was not the same guy. You could argue that maybe he did that so that he could get these challenges because nobody was trying to fight him. I mean, honestly, I'm glad the fight with him and Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade didn't happen because these two motherfuckers would have just been dancing around the fucking ring until, you know, the 12th round. I don't particularly like... I think Demetrius Andrade is a great boxer. He's a great boxer, but it's not the most entertaining thing to watch the way he does it. I even like the way Floyd Mayweather did it as opposed to the way this guy does it. He's good, man. He's really good, but it's just too much... I don't know. It's just too much dancing around for me. For me, anyway. And they both kind of have, like, that in common. Him and Billy Joe Saunders. Now, that shit was Billy Joe's fault right there because he couldn't, you know, he couldn't pass a drug test after all the shit he talked about Canelo, which is interesting enough. I just found out that clenbuterol has been legalized in the league. Like, the trace amounts that he got found, like, that shit, that's okay for VADA testing now. Crazy. I mean, fuck. But, I mean, that being said, I do think that this fight is going to be worth it. You know, Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 8th on DAZN. It's going to be, you know, one of those fights that people that hate Canelo will always harken back and talk about Erislandy Lara. Now, here's my thing. And Floyd Mayweather. All right? Don't get me wrong, dude. Like, Erislandy Lara was dope. And he danced around a lot, but he got them hands, dude. He got them hands, bro. And I'm fully convinced. I've watched that fight like 5 times. I'm fully convinced Canelo won that fight. Okay? But he did his thing. He did his damage. That was... What? That was 2014. That was in 2014. So obviously Canelo is not the same fighter as then. Floyd Mayweather was in 2013. Obviously Canelo's not the same fighter as he was then. So that's another thing everybody has to consider. And I don't like how everybody likes to go back to like, oh, Austin Trout and Erislandy Lara and Floyd Mayweather gave him. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They did. But Canelo's not the same fighter. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think that's your best thing to go back on, even if as a trainer, like, you want to go back and use that film footage to help your fighter, like, develop some kind of tactic against this guy, because Canelo's just too smart, and he's evolved with every fight, in my opinion. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I do think Canelo's going to win on May 8th. I do really want to stress that it's going to be a good fight. It's not going to be like the fight you guys just saw or the fight that we just saw. It's not going to be like that. I don't believe any one of these guys are going to quit. If anything, they'll both go out on their shield if they have to. But, I mean, it's more likely going to be one than the other. That being said, I'm going to end this video because I already took too long. Let me know what you guys all think in the comments. Hit the like button if you can. Also hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to see if you can get any content. If I get good at this, I can make a couple more videos. But thank you guys for listening to the first episode of El Terrible Toxic Takes. Peace.